Hey everybody, my name is Katrice Bailey, and I am a model, educator, and investor. And today you are watching, you are listening to, you are zooming, you are living, a little bit of everything. When Models Talk, Season 2, Episode 2. Welcome everyone who is tuning in. I am excited for you to hear from our guest today. She is, when I say homegirl dope, she dope. And I'm excited for everyone to really learn more about her and who she is. Not just what you see on Instagram or her YouTube, but also just who she is as a person. So, and for her to share her expertise and just a little bit of everything that she's doing. So you can catch us on Anchor. Well, all the previous episodes you can catch on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, and a couple other avenues as far as to listen to old episodes, which was actually season 1. And we have 43 episodes altogether. So that should be very interesting for everyone to go back and look. But also, what else are we doing? Let me make sure I got everything together. Also, check out our YouTube channel, Models Like Me, and subscribe, watch the videos, subscribe. They are also all the episodes, of course, in video. So check that out. And I am about to bring in our wonderful guest so that y'all can hear from her and learn more about her story. And hello, the real Macaw. Hi. All right, so I'm about to bring my guest in so she can introduce herself and you can see who's coming up. Let me see. I'm excited. And excuse my voice. I'm drinking tea. I've been drinking tea all day. Hey, pretty lady.
Hey, Katrice, you can't see my whole face here. Let me get something to prop me up. Just a moment. Hold on.
Okay, no problem. Let me drink some water because I gotta get my throat together.
Give myself a little boost.
How you doing? You
I'm
look gorgeous
good.
as usual.
Thank you. It's so good to see you. Let me make sure this can stay. Will that do?
I feel like I just messed up my camera, messing around.
And look, are we wearing the same color?
Way
to be in sync in the spirit.
Yes. So we have now, y'all. We have Dr. Victoria. So when Dr. Victoria, every time I say her name, it's gonna be Dr. Victoria.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
See, I think people need to understand that we are not just models. We are so much more.
Yeah.
There's doctors, there's lawyers, there's whatever you name it, models have done it.
Yeah. That's so true.
So even though I say Dr. Victoria, I want you to introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are and a little bit of your background.
Okay, hello everyone. So good to be here. I'm excited for tonight. My name is Victoria Adeniran. That's a Nigerian name, aka Sister Vic. I am a doctor. I am a foot and ankle surgeon to be specific. I'm in my residency right now. I just started this year. I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm from a lot of places. I'm from Nigeria. I'm from Virginia. I'm from Maryland, the DMV area. I'm from Houston, Texas. I think Houston is where I've lived the longest. I'm also a singer. I'm also a model. I'm also a music minister, a dancer, Afro dance in specific, and a choreographer. I love bananas. My favorite color is brown. I love to dance. I speak English, I speak Yoruba, and I speak some Spanish, working on it. I'm married. I'm a daughter, a sister, a wife, and a friend to many.
So everything she said in a nutshell, she's bomb. Just like bomb. When I started doing research on her, and I was just like, wait a minute, did I know this person this whole entire time? She was sitting there this whole entire time, and I'm just now getting to know her. Like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, they've been hanging out. right people around you. The people that you have around you is very important.
It's true.
That's and definitely high vibrations, high energy, just people that are going to feed you. And also it's an even exchange because you're feeding them as well.
Yes.
So, but I'm so excited to have you on because when I say, okay, so let me tell you the topics that we're about to get into. Okay. So the topics are music and movement, modeling and ministry, medicine and marriage.
Hey now.
Culture and meals.
Yes.
And of course, if anybody has any questions, please put it in the comment section. I will try to make sure that I pay attention to it. But, we're good. Now, getting into our first question, which I like to ask every model is, how did you get into modeling? How did that start?
Yes. So I've actually thought about modeling for a while in my childhood. Once you're tall, so I'm 6 feet tall. Once you're tall and you're kind of slim, people are always like, oh, you should be a model. You should be a model. But to me, that's like, hearing that was like somebody saying, oh, you should, be a famous Hollywood actor. It's like, how do you do that? How do you get started? So I just kind of didn't do anything about it. But then in my church in Houston, there were two sisters that were in like our youth group that they had actually gotten into modeling, and they told me about it. And so there was an agency that I started with. I started training there. I wasn't signed there, called Page Parks. And so I looked into them, and they had like a model training kind of thing where you take acting classes, you take classes on how to comport yourself as a model if you're going to different castings. You take classes on runway walking, photography and posing. It's like a crash course in a weekend. You also get a photo shoot, you get your comp cards, you get some Polaroids. You get everything. You get a makeover, you get a hair styling. And so it was pretty expensive. But I'm glad I did it because it gave me everything I need at once. And to get into modeling, you don't have to do something like that because, yes, you're getting your photos, you're getting your portfolio and all that. But it can be expensive, and there are ways to get into modeling without doing all that. But because I just had no clue and I didn't want to do all the grunt work of doing that myself, I started with that model camp. And that was in 2013. And so from there, I didn't sign with them after, but I looked into other agencies in the area and submitted. I had the photos, I had the materials, I had like a resume and all that I could submit. And so I submitted, and I started with a smaller agency with Miss Donna in Houston, Texas.
Okay. That's awesome. Because I'm happy you said all that stuff as far as how to get in. And basically creating, because you did this on your own. It wasn't like somebody had to push you or pull you to do it.
Yeah.
It was more I'm interested, let me check this out and see how it all works out. And I think that's for a lot of people, they're trying to figure out how, like, how do I do this? If I'm hearing people say you should be a model, I'm not really interested 100%, but at the same time, it sounds like it could be something that I could actually do. It sounds pretty cool. And a lot of people go after it and they don't know how to do it, and they wind up getting into either the free circle. I'm going to do everything for free, or they some people just get taken advantage of and they just learn along the way, like, oh snap, well, I know not to do that again. I know to do this. So it's definitely a process with becoming a model in general, and when it comes to even entertainment in general, there's a process you got to go through. And I feel like a lot of people need to know the blueprint, in a sense, of how to go about doing it the correct way, because we can do it the wrong way many of times. I just so happen to be able to got signed that way, where some people, they have to do a whole lot more. Even when you get into modeling, you still have to do a whole lot more. But that was something that I'm happy you shared, all those things, the process, even though everything does not have to officially go that particular way, like you said. There's other ways to get in, but I always recommend somebody do some type of training, because especially if you are new. You're like, okay, this is nuts. I never thought about this. You're going to need training.
That is for sure.
And it might be a little bit expensive, like you said, but at the same time, it's preparing. You have to invest in yourself. I tell people all the time, please invest in yourself. Because that's the only way you're going to get to the next level, by investing in yourself. And if you don't invest in yourself, how do you expect somebody to invest in you?
Exactly.
So now getting into, I'm going to go into, we'll get back to modeling.
Okay.
I'm going into music.
Okay.
Homegirl can sing. And I did not know. Like, I hear people singing, I'm like, you sound good. But when I heard her, I was like, oh, this is her. Wait a minute, this is you. Let me make sure. Let me go on a couple of your pages and make sure this is you behind the mic. Because, and I love her album. Let me get your album, because I wrote it down.
Okay.
And wait a minute. This is where my me being all jacked up and not together. Tell everybody what your album name is.
It is called Midnight Coffee. That came out 2017. Midnight Coffee.
Yes. And what I love about her album is she is like giving God the thank you, the everything. It's all about Jesus. And I love that. I was like, and I'm listening to, and I love the song, actually, Midnight Coffee, because I think you have a song named Midnight Coffee. And when I said I heard it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really had to check, because I was like, I didn't know the girl could sing. You know, you hear people say, oh, I can sing, but we're going to leave it at that.
That's
But yes, her album is so beautiful. So what was it like to actually, how did music come about for you? Because obviously it's a gift.
So music, I think in 3rd grade is when I found out I could sing, I guess, because we were just, you know, singing some Christmas songs or whatever in elementary school. And then I remember one of my friends called me and she was like, oh, why don't you sing, I don't know, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And I sang it, and on the phone she was like, you lying, that's not you, that's your sister. And I was like, no, that was me. I just sang it the way I knew how to sing it. But the fact that she thought I was pretending let me think that, oh, you know, maybe I could sing. And so for a long time, I just kind of, in elementary school, I wrote like all these different songs that didn't make sense, about relationships never was in, about, I don't know, about like random stuff. And then sometime in high school, I gave my life to Christ and like started, you know, kind of changing the script a little bit. Like, okay, let's make songs that are more wholesome, songs that actually do make sense. And kind of throughout school, I have been in different like school choir, and then in church, I've been in church choir. And so, yeah, I've just like kept it up. And I started to get serious with music sometime in high school, also sometime in late high school, at my church. And I was in a ministry, SOTC Sold Out to Christ, where there were a couple of other people into music. There was The Chosen, who was rapping. There was Miss Ree, she's a female. She also rapped and sang a little bit. And, you know, I thought like, oh, I would like to do this, but I just felt like I was waiting for something. Really, I was relying on those other people to kind of like push me and pull me into the circle with them. I remember I spoke with one of my friends, Sister Adeniran, and she was like, sis, like, just do it. Like, you don't need to wait on anybody. Just like because at that point I had already helped some of those other people, like either sing backup or feature on some of their songs and stuff. And she was like, you already know like enough people, just go out there and just do it. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna do it. And so that's when sometime late high school, I recorded a couple of songs on like a mixer album with me and 2 others, The Chosen and G Faye. And then I'd been working on songs for a while, but I'd been in school, and school takes a lot of time. So finally in 2017, I was able to release the album. And I knew I had to release it then because that was the summer after my first year of podiatry school. And that's the only summer that you get off in podiatry school. So that's the summer I got married. That's the summer that I released the album. That's the summer I, planned a whole move from where I was living to somewhere else in Philadelphia. That's the summer that everything had to happen because after that was going to be back to back. So that's when, that's when the album came out. And since then, I will, every now and then I'll sing a little something online, either live or, put a video up. I also I sing in my local church, Antioch Christian Fellowship. I also sing at other churches in the area. I've sung at a couple of weddings. So, I love to sing. So I just want to keep it up.
Yes, because when I was like, girl got a gift. Like, it's crazy. It's just, like, your voice is beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Like, I had to do a pop.
You hyping me up now.
I'm waiting for a concert so I can come. I'm gonna have to go to church. I'm gonna have to come to church. Let me know.
There you go.
Let me know when you performing, girl. So
okay.
I'll be right in the front row, like. But yes, your voice is so beautiful, and I was just like, wow. Now, you said during the break, during that summer, there was so much that you had to get done within the summer, meaning marriage, album, everything. First of all, talking about your album, what's the process, if you could sum it up? What's the process of actually, for people who actually want to get into music and actually produce their own album? Like, I keep on telling everybody, which I will do because whatever I say is going to be done, that I can do my own model mixtape.
There you go. There you go. Come on.
I can sing a little bit.
Okay. Yes.
But I also learned that when it comes to doing, because over like these past couple months, one thing I learned is that it doesn't have to be 100% of you singing. You could be doing poetry on it. You could be doing anything on a mixtape. I follow one lady. Her name is Tony Jones, wonderful woman, and she talks about, like, she's not really singing. She's really doing her I am. She's talking about being a woman. She's talking about all kinds of stuff that just makes sense, that makes you feel empowered as a woman.
Yeah, that you want to hear, that you want to listen to.
Exactly. So it's not about 100%, because I said I'm gonna sing a little bit, but it's not gonna be like, it ain't gonna be your sing. It ain't gonna be your album. But that's something that I want to actually do. So what's the process of someone who wants to actually do that? How does that come about? How did you bring that to life?
Now, conventionally, a lot of people may have different ways that they're going about it, but how I did my album in many different pieces. I didn't, so you basically need to have the songs that you want to record, or your material, whether it's your songs or raps, whatever it is. If you write your songs, like I write my songs, and you need to, write them, have the arrangement and all that. What I also did, just to save time in the studio, is I knew like what key I wanted each song to be in. I had a little keyboard, and I can't really play, but I knew that, okay, this song is going to be a little lower. I'm going to start like maybe key of C. This song is going to be high. It's going to be G or whatever. And then after that, you need to have your instrumental, unless you're just going to be a cappella. And so again, I don't do that. So you need to find either your beat maker or your band or your orchestra, whatever you want to be accompanying you while you're delivering your material. And so for me, everything was like choppy and bits and pieces. It was just the grace of God that it all got done, because some of them, like, I got a beat from my bro Toonj on the beats, TYA. I got a beat from Tommy, TA Beats, like years ago, and I'm like, I'm just holding on to this beat, and then I make the song to the beat. Sometimes you might have, your accompaniment, and then you write to that or whatever. And a separate segment, I'm able to record, and then later on, so I didn't do mine wasn't so streamlined. It wasn't so neat. It was a little messy, but it all came together. So just to summarize, so I wrote my material, I arranged it, I knew what key I wanted it in, and then I contacted different people to give me beats, instrumentals. I used Fonz, I used Oda Beats, I used different people that I knew in Houston And I've heard advice that like you could use the same person just to make it all easy. It could be done very quickly if you use the same person delivering you all your beats, all your instrumentals. But I've also heard advice that you might want to vary it up a little bit so that we've all heard that album where it's like every track sound the same. It's like track one, you move to the next track. It's like, that sounds just like track one. And sometimes you kind of get into that when you use the same person because different people have their different style. And so I varied it up and I used different people. And so once I had my different instrumentals and all that, then I was ready to go into the studio. Some people that make beats, some people that make beats have their own studio, that make instrumentals have their own studio. For example, one of the ladies, Tommy Favor, that's featured on one of my songs, she has her own studio. So she sang on the song and we recorded in her studio. Like that, I remember I like traveled to Dallas. I think I slept over. I stayed at her house so that we could record that song. So every song, the way every song came about for me looked different. But I wrote the material, I had the arrangement set, I got the instrumentals or the beats, and then I booked studio time to record. You could look online and find like official studios. Honestly, a lot of studios, the more capabilities that they have, the more expensive they'll be. If you want a studio where you can bring a whole band and you can fit the whole band into the recording booth, it's going to be more expensive. But I didn't need any of that since it was just me mostly. So yeah, more friends, more connects, more people that I knew that had like a studio in their garage or a studio in their basement. I did that. And so then when I recorded all the songs, I had all of them send me like the raw files, because that's what I needed to send to, I used, I think it's Disc Makers, a company online that will master all your songs for you, that will package your songs into like a CD and like sort out all the, you know, track one, make the name of the track appear when you put it in your CD player, all that. And mastering basically levels out everything and gives it kind of like a uniform sound. So not like some of our Nollywood films or some of the low budget films where one moment like the actors' voices are all low and next thing you know it's all loud, or like one track is loud and the next track is low. So mastering kind of smoothens out all of that. And so I just used one company that mastered everything and like kind of packaged it into the final product. I used Candor Pictures for my album art. Even the photo on my album art was from another photo shoot that I'd done by Ben Photos, Ben G. Like, so everything was kind of taken from everywhere because like I could have said, you know, I'm gonna just book one person to make all my instrumentals, book studio time for, you know, maybe a week and record everything at one stretch, book a photo shoot for all the album art. But, you know, and you can do that. It might be more expensive. But yeah, like I said, mine was all over the place.
And the good thing is you got it done.
Yeah.
Because so many people will start a project and not complete it because it becomes hard and it becomes too much. And you know, the reason why God gave you the gift of singing is to actually produce. And also your voice can be used as a healing. It can heal, it can be used for healing, it can be used for so many different things when people actually use what the gifts that God gave them.
Yeah.
So I was just like, my phone, child. I don't know what Instagram doing. They're something to that.
It's working. One other thing.
My phone people get dark.
Oh. But one other thing that I've noticed too is that people have different gifts. Like some people, they sing amazingly, but then when they write their own songs, they're like, that song was trash though. Like, let's just be honest. Like they have a gift of singing, but they don't have a gift of writing. Or some people, like the opposite, they have a gift of writing and, you know, maybe just need to sell what you write or, you know, deliver what you write because maybe you don't have the gift of how to deliver. Maybe you can write music or compose something, but delivering it is, you know, or maybe delivering it is your gift, or maybe producing, making the beat. Like, you know, listen to all the people that were in this process, making the beat, making the album art, you know, mastering, sound production, sound engineering. There are so many different places. Like it doesn't all have to, you know, look the same. Or some people, they never record anything in their life, but they go to different places and sing. They sing at weddings, or they sing at birthday parties, they sing at events, they sing at, you know, sing live at cafes and all that. Everybody's gift is different, you know. And force ourselves into some box.
I agree, because and that even is related to when it comes to modeling. Some people don't realize the gift that they have
Oh
when it
yes.
comes to being a model. They be like, I'm just me, like,
Yeah.
and they be like, but we see it. We see it. You might not see it, but we see it.
Exactly.
And their gift comes off in so many different ways, whether they're somebody that's amazing at walking the runway, somebody that's amazing at taking a photo, somebody that's amazing at just different things in the industry, doing a commercial, whatever it is. It just comes natural because it's their gift. And just like you said, some people they just have it where they'll make an album, but they can say that behind all, but the album wasn't right. We're like,
Exactly.
like, what's this? And that's the time to say, okay, you know what? I'm about to get a song from somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna record that one.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people have a whole bunch of issues with people singing other people's songs. And I'll be like,
it's okay. There's out there that we don't know. Tasha Cobbs didn't write that song, or I don't know. Nelly didn't write that song. Nelly, I'm dating myself. Usher didn't write that song.
I'm like, Nelly girl, Nelly. Yes, a lot of songs they don't write. Even Beyonce don't write all her songs. A lot of Neo writes some of her songs.
Yeah, yep.
And another girl, young black girl. She writes she wrote some of her songs too that was like number one hits.
Nice.
So you just have to look at it as first. It doesn't really matter. Everybody has their particular gift, and as long as you're doing what God told you to do, that's really all that matters. So getting into let me go back to my other paper. So I forgot all about the iceberg, girl. I was like, oh, the iceberg gone. So when it comes to, because I know you said within the summer you got married also. How is it being a married woman, especially when it comes to modeling?
So
and it's like 2 years, right? Is it 2 years or 3 years now?
Of marriage, we clocked 4 years in July. Like that time flew. That time, the time really, really flew. Personally, I love being married. Marriage is like, it can be very challenging. I think what really has grounded my husband and I is that we got a lot of counseling before marriage. Even now, we have mentors that we speak with regularly. And, counseling really has like helped us out a lot. I know everybody doesn't have like a pleasant experience in marriage or even in relationships. But I think counseling and like educating ourselves is like the biggest thing. We can't just rely like on our feelings or on like, oh, I like you, you like me. It takes work. Nothing is easy. Yeah. But yeah, it takes a lot more than that. But I have loved marriage. Honestly, Victor has been, so my husband is Victor. He has been so supportive and so helpful.
Hold on, wait a minute. Did she just say Victor?
Yeah.
What? You was like, no, y'all put us together. Look at our names.
Yes.
That's cute. She said Victor and Victoria. Girl, y'all have kids. What's the name going? Baby's gonna be.
I'm thinking about it. I got some.
Something with a B.
I would like to keep all these, I would like to. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I kept T's and K's.
Okay.
My dad's name was started with a T and mine starts with a K, so
nice.
K's, 2 T's, 1 K.
I like that. Yeah, keep it in the family. But yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. Bitch, you saying, because I just cut you off. I was like, wait a minute.
No, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, speaking of, he just joined. Look at that, Victor.
Hi.
Hey, Victor, honey. Yeah, honestly, I have loved marriage a lot. The funny thing is, like, for several months pre-marriage, it was, dare I say, hell. Like, it was hard because we were so different. We didn't see ourselves like I don't know, we just didn't see how like things could work. We had different aspirations. We saw ourselves like going different directions in life. We couldn't figure out how to make it work. And that's how counseling really helped us, and helped us like see what our priorities are, helped us see eye to eye when it comes to finances. We use Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. We went through Five Love Languages, the book by Gary. We went and we talked about it. We went through Love and Respect by Emerson, and we talked about it. We had some things that we were so different. If you're somebody that knows about like what, there's so many different kind of personality types and all that, but one of them talks about like melancholic, sanguine, choleric, and phlegmatic. And I am choleric and melancholic, which is basically like really driven, I guess, like A-type personality. And melancholic is like, you know, really introspective. And the phlegmatic
Like
person, yeah. And he is the exact opposite. He is sanguine phlegmatic. Sanguine is like the really extroverted person that's out there, person that can get you know, many bursts of energy to do something, but maybe that interest doesn't last so long. And he's phlegmatic, which is someone who's like kind of prone to relaxation, prone to like not introspection, but just kind of chilling. You know, it's kind of hard to move them into action a lot of the time. And like any person that kind of knew us individually or kind of knew what our personality types were, is like, dang, like how y'all going? But that kind of seemed too opposite. And even the way like our church backgrounds, like our church culture, all that, everything was just so different. So different. But through counseling, like we were able to work through that to the point where now like all those things that seem so big don't seem that big. But yeah, I've really enjoyed marriage. Like marriages exist, y'all. Like keep hoping. Like I really loved it, and being married as a model, I don't know if it's really affected what the work I do that much, as just like my personal ethics and like personal beliefs and values as a Christian have affected it. But I know that he appreciates the work that I do too. He appreciates.
Me too.
He agrees. He appreciates that extra income also. So yeah.
Yes, but that's awesome because I honestly, all the books you said I've heard of, and I think a couple of them I actually read during, because being in a relationship, I recommend that everyone actually gets counseling.
Yes.
And nothing's wrong with counseling.
Yes.
You need somebody there that's going to definitely be, you know, he said, I have enjoyed marriage too. You definitely need somebody there that's basically going to be the middleman that does not know both of y'all at all and not going to be biased in any way, so that y'all can resolve certain issues, because it's a lot of times I feel like in relationships it's a lot of communication challenges. And we're not getting across exactly what we mean, because at the end of the day we all still got to work on communication. Nobody's a perfect communicator. So that's something that we're always, you know, in a relationship, you're learning, just like you said with the love languages. I had sessions where, you know, we went over our love languages, learning that process. I've had things at my house where, like when I was working my job, one of the classes I taught was everybody learned your kids' love languages. You learned your spouse's love language.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand, and they're like, well, I buy them gifts. I buy her gifts all the time.
Yeah.
And she just be,
yeah.
Okay. That's not her love language. A gift is not love for her. It might be more of affection, quality time. So, and then when you talked about, like I've heard of another program, because other stuff that you were saying, I was like, well, what's this? What are these words? And the one I learned a long time ago was called the STAR program. It stands for, it's basically the same thing, but S is for stability, and these are personality types. So S is for stability. T is for technical.
Okay.
Somebody is very techy. A is for That's like the alpha. That's that person that's like, you know, action oriented. It stands for action. And what's the last one? R is relationship. I am a relationship person.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's very important, but you can have all of them. Everyone has every single one. Some just stand out more than the other.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got somebody that's you know, very action oriented, they're the go getters. They're like, I don't need nobody to tell me what to do. It's just gonna get done. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Versus somebody that's an S, they're like, no, I need things planned. I need it orderly. I need it like you walk in my house, take your shoes off. You're not allowed.
Yeah.
That's an S.
Yeah.
Somebody that's a T is they need the details of every little thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they need, and this is stuff that you actually really have to give them so they can move forward to the next thing.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? R, a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's somebody that, you know, you really do need communication skills with them. You really have to be able to talk to them. They love all the they love that type of stuff. So that's me. That's me. I'm excited to be an R. I care for people.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, a lot of things you touched on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things you touched on was definitely very important, especially when it comes to relationships. And I am so happy that y'all are happy, enjoying y'all marriage.
Uh-huh.
Especially during the whole pandemic.
Yeah.
Some people realize that they shouldn't have got married.
Mm-hmm.
But then you realize, like, wait a minute, I got a good one right here. No, this is good. This is the gall to put this together.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially the Vic and the Vic.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and I know you mentioned when it comes down to modeling, and you talked a little bit about, you know, when it comes down to being a Christian when it comes to modeling. Mm-hmm. That was something we talked about a little bit. And so how is it when it comes to modeling? Because modeling can take you different places. It could be a bad thing. It could be a good thing. It can be in between.
Yeah.
So how are you maneuvering? Like, how are you doing what it is that you do as a model without being basically caught up into nonsense?
Yeah.
It doesn't make no sense.
Yeah. One thing that helps me kind of stay grounded and stay focused is that modeling is not my number one thing. It's not like, oh, if I don't get, you know, a modeling job in the next week, then I'm not going to eat, or, you know, I'm not going to be able to make it. Modeling is something that I enjoy, but it's something that's on the side. And I do feel that sometimes desperation for something can cause you to bend or sway or just, you know, be carried away. So that's one thing that helps me. And then also I do a lot of self-talk, and I talk to myself, especially before I even got into modeling. I said, hey, you know, I recognize I'm a Christian, and I'm going to have, I set for myself like certain standards. They are very strict standards. I'm not going to say exactly what they are because they're by no means like standards that everybody needs to follow or something. This is just, you know, they're just things that I do that help me keep myself in check. They are even, you know, even to people that would consider themselves Christians, they're even extreme, you know, for a Christian. But I'm just like, hey, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't want, you know, I don't want to find myself going down some path, or, you know, I do a photo shoot and I thought it was okay, but then the photos come out and it's like, oh dang, like that really looks, you know, somehow. And so I had to be specific with what I would and what I would not do. Like, I've written them down. I communicate that with my agent, the modeling agency that I'm with. I would not do this. I would not do this. And and it has to be specific. And it seems, you know, really silly. Like, I can't just say, oh, I'm not going to wear raunchy stuff, or I'm not, you know, for example, something that is very clear is I will not do nude, or I won't do swimsuit, or I won't do, you know, whatever. And, you know, and again, not to say that like, oh, I mean, as far as like nude or whatever, you know, I don't think if you're a Christian, you should be doing that. Personally, I don't think so. But, you know, other standards that I have, not to say that, oh, these are things that other Christians or people need to stick by. No, this is just, you need to have boundaries. You just have to. Like, you can't just say like, oh, well, we'll see, or, oh, we'll fill it out, because you don't know, you know, what's going to happen. And next thing you know, you'll kind of be carried away. So that's what helps me. And I have accepted the sacrifice of like, I'm not going to get all the jobs. Like, I'm going to be passed up, or there's going to be something that's amazing that maybe like I would be great for it. But because I say, oh, I'm not going to show this part of my body, I'm not good at it. Like, I've already like kind of talked to myself through like worst case scenarios, and I've told myself I'm okay with this. Like, even recently there was a job with a TV network, if I say the name, that, you know, everybody would know it, but I ended up not getting that job once I said like, oh, you know, just by the way, these are my standards. And the funny thing is, I don't even think that it would have violated those standards, but just when they saw, like, I guess the list was kind of intimidating or whatever. And so, you know, it was just like, oh, we'd rather not deal with all that. We'd rather not deal with her. And I'm like, hey, that's fine. You know, honestly, God has been providing anyway. Like, it's not my source of income, and I still get modeling jobs. And so really the self-talk and being honest with myself and saying, I am willing to take that hit. I'm willing to take the sacrifice. That's what's helped me.
Yeah, and you touched on so many different things that's very important when it comes to modeling. And a lot of people, I think, when they come into the industry, they don't realize that they actually do have a voice in it and what they can and cannot do. And also, you may not have used this particular word, but I'm gonna use it anyway, the desperation of some people when it comes down to, you know, wanting to be a model so bad, thinking that it's going to put you in a position of you have everything, all of like you're gonna be J-Lo.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. I think it's very important for you to have a realization of the type of model you are now. No, let's be clear. You can definitely build an amazing brand and build yourself to be this amazing model and do so many different things. And it may not be the traditional avenue of being able to do all of that. And I think a lot of people don't understand that coming into modeling. They'll say, oh, like I've heard models say, well, girls that want to get into modeling, they're like, well, we're all about the runway and everything, just words. I'm like, y'all don't know nothing about modeling. Y'all need a couch. Katrice.com. Let's come. You need a couch. Because I can tell you how to do it. And you know, the process of it all. And that's something that people need. That's why I say people need to learn how to invest in themselves. But make sure whatever you're investing in, make sure you get the value out of it. Make sure you see value in what you're investing in. If it's something that you don't, you know, you're not going to leave with nothing, what was the purpose of you investing? But you just have so many models that come in and they don't know where to start. And I feel like one of the things as far as being a model, our job as a model, especially because I'm a Christian too. So when it comes down to it, our job is to help people out. Help people.
Exactly.
Okay. So you don't go through certain things. Know that you have a voice. Know what's going to be done and what's not going to. What makes sense for you. Somebody that's a Christian that wants to be a model, yes, you can say, I don't do this, that, and this. And be okay and understand that you may not get every single job, which you may not get every single job regardless.
Exactly.
But just like somebody said, God rewards obedience. Let's normalize having high standards when it comes to ourselves. I know that's right, Monique, to you. Yes, girl. I know that's right. And she's absolutely right with everything she just said.
And also, I have and it's not just for me. For me, yes, I'm a Christian and that's part of it. But apart from that, the other things that I do, I have like platforms. For example, like being a music minister, like going to sing at churches. Like one thing that I put in my head is like whatever modeling job that I do, I want them to be able to take that footage or take that picture, you know, on Saturday evening or Sunday morning when they're saying, oh, and now we're going to have Sis Vic come up and sing for us, you know, and put that picture on the screen and say, this is Sis Vic. Like, I just want like a total free and clear conscience. It's not just about me and what I'm comfortable with, but it's also about like, I don't want to you know, like you said, we're leading the flock. We're helping people. I don't want to
Yes.
steer anybody the wrong way. I don't want, you know, if they can't use that photo or whatever to introduce me when I'm about to sing at whatever, you know, ministry or whatever next week, then I'm like, you know what? Let me just be safe, and I don't need it. It's gonna be okay, you know, because I don't have that desperation.
Exactly. And that's so important what you just said, because there are so many people, it makes me even think like, well, what's the picture that I take? Wait a minute. Now, one thing I learned, I did one photo before that was partially a nude artistic type of photo, but it wasn't too crazy. Now my body was bomb. Let's be clear. But early on in my career, when I did it, it was like I had people that told me like, you don't need to do this early on in your career. You should be getting paid. Because I didn't get paid for that.
Yeah.
They're like, you ain't even get paid for it. What?
Yeah.
Like, you should have had a couple grand in your pocket.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I learned early
on.
on.
You learn from it and you grow.
And I was just like, you're right. I still want my photo. I have the photo. I'm gonna blow it up because it's going in my house regardless. But at the same time, I know, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So, and having the mindset, I've always had the mindset, because again, Milo was not my number one choice either. So I always had the mindset of, okay, this is not the end all be all. So if I choose not to model one day, I just choose not to model one day. Yeah. Whatever I want to choose to do, I can go do. And model is not the only thing. It's not my only bread and butter.
Exactly.
And I tell people all the time, modeling is a stepping stone to get you to other levels of things that you want to accomplish and things you want to do. It should, at the end of the day, it really should not, to me personally, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
It should not be your everything. Like, what do you want to do? Be intentional on what you are doing. And the more intentional you are, just like I tell people all the time, create a plan, make it clear, concise, and then take the steps to get it done. Rather than say, I'm going to modeling so that I can eventually do this, that, and the other. Yeah. And build my 7 streams of income so that eventually I'll be able to live the way I want to live and not have to rely on a check from me booking a gig. Yeah.
And you need that plan, because even if someone is to find themselves in a phase of life where modeling is the only thing that they're doing, modeling is never a lifetime career for anybody. Like modeling, you have people that are children's models, and then you know, at some point the child goes through puberty, and you know, Children's Place doesn't want to hire them anymore. Or you have models that, like, you know, they're that 16, 18 kind of year, or you might have a mature model. Like it's never really, I've never known of anyone to be a lifetime model. Maybe they start as a model and they go into acting. So even if it is the only thing that somebody's doing for a space, you still need a plan, because that time is not going to last forever.
Exactly. And one thing I even learned recently, because when, like, my photos now are different from my photos when I first started modeling. Like, I looked at one photo and I was like, I look old. And I had to say to myself, like, okay, you were supposed to get older, Katrice. Like, you thought you was gonna be young forever. Now, let's be clear, the photo's still cute.
Come on.
But at the same time, I think sometimes we have, being in that space as far as a model, sometimes we like, wait a minute, I'm used to certain things, and when things change up, it's just taking what you have. That's like I tell people all the time. When you are, like, I'm gonna use an example of a mom, and how she's a young mom, she cute, she fly, she doing all this stuff, but then she starts getting older, and then she's still acting like she's still young.
Yeah,
and like, girl, can you act your age? Act like a mom. And I feel like when it comes to modeling, you could actually make a lifelong career if that's your choice, but take your stages. When you start changing, gear your brand towards that change.
For the transition.
When you change again, gear your brand to that change.
Yeah.
And then you'll be successful in your career. But also, if you're doing all that, you need to have creative classes. You
Mm-hmm.
like, cause you have your whys.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's you have to. It's like, how else can I make money if I don't feel like going on the runway?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't feel like taking this photo, what are
Mm-hmm.
my other avenues of making money? How can I help other people coming behind me that
Yeah,
are going to me need the advice that I give, because everybody gives different advice
yeah.
in their experience, their story. So that's definitely one thing. But now let's switch over, because we talk about my, even though this that now when it comes to ministry, we'll talk about movement too, but when it comes to ministry, I saw that you have I believe you're working with your mother-in-law.
Yes.
Hey, mother-in-law, if you ever watch this. Now y'all started I don't know if y'all call it seasons or whatever, but y'all started the process of going live on Zoom
Mm-hmm.
and just helping people. You could be talking about marriage, you could talk about youth, like there's so many things. What does that look like, and how are y'all helping people? What are y'all discussions?
Mm-hmm. So my mother in love, I love her so much. She has a foundation, BaO Foundation, and it's a ministry. It's a foundation that has a base here in the United States, in Houston, and also in Ogun State, Abeokuta, in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
And it's aimed at ending sex trafficking and like giving succor to orphans that are in Nigeria. There's also a mentorship program for young teen girls and young teen boys, both in America and in Nigeria. So it's kind of like a dual fold. So there are things happening in America, things happening in Nigeria also. They also have a ministry where they help the less advantaged and a specific blind community in the same city in Nigeria. And so the branch that I'm involved in with BaO Foundation is in the Teen Girls Mentoring program. Mostly for teens in America, though I have mentored some of the girls in Nigeria too. And so every about quarter or so, she will host a live Zoom, and we'll have both Nigerian and American young teen girls join in. And I am on the panel, myself and her daughter, my sister, and my other sister, my brother's wife, and my husband's sister. We're on the panel, and we are just transparent. We are real with these girls. It's funny because you don't really know how much you know until somebody asks you. I would just say like, oh, I'm just a regular person living my life. But then they have questions about identity, or questions about, culture, merging Nigerian and American cultures, or, if you're a second generation immigrant, they have questions about wanting to go into higher education or wanting to go into medicine. They have questions about, our body is changing, about hormones, about puberty, about sexual purity, about goal setting. So we've had different topics, and we're just real. Myself and my sisters, we share our story. We're not, hiding anything, especially because a lot of these girls come from kind of a church culture. Some of their parents are ministers or pastors, and there can be kind of this fake air
Yeah.
with like, in that circle where people don't really talk about real issues because it seems like it takes away from the power of God somehow. Or it seems like, oh well, God should be helping you. You're a Christian. God should be answering all the questions. God should be solving all those problems. You shouldn't be sad. You shouldn't be depressed. You shouldn't struggle with lust or porn or whatever. And it's like, no, these are real struggles. God helps us, but we have to be real and admit that these are struggles and talk about
Yes.
practical ways, to pass through them, to overcome them. And so I just love that we're able to have transparent conversations. And, every time my mother-in-law will say, like, no parents allowed, she has everybody turn on their camera. So we make sure that there are no boys peeping in. There are no parents, trying to eavesdrop on their daughters or nieces or whatever. And we just talk. We just talk.
That's a great thing, because I was just talking to a friend of mine, and she's coming up with this amazing idea, and it's all about girl empowerment, women empowerment, and teaching our girls, because nowadays it's going left. Meaning some girls don't even know if they're really a girl or if they're a guy.
Yeah.
And it's because, for me, I feel like in some instances it's because they don't have somebody, a woman, a figure, somebody teaching them and walking them through the process of understanding who they are as a girl, as a young lady, and growing into a woman. And if you don't have that, it's like you leave it up to yourself. And if you only around a whole bunch of guys, that's where identity starts to become a challenge. Because you don't, it's like having those strong women, and actually strong women that are transparent. Because I need somebody that I can relate to. If I'm going to have a conversation, I could be secretly going through something, and then all of a sudden you ain't over here being 100% real.
Yeah.
So I don't get healed. I don't get help. But you try and keep it all nice and clean and peach and cane.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you my struggles. I'm gonna tell you what I went through. But you will also see the aftermath of everything. I'm good. I'm still happy. I'm joyful. I still look forward to the future. Nobody's gonna stop me from accomplishing my goals and my dreams.
Yeah.
And that's something that you want, especially these young girls that are trying to figure themselves out. Like, that's like, they trying to figure everything out. And I'll be like, even the boys, they trying to figure it out too. And they need those male figures that's going to actually be there and be honest and help them. Because as women, we can give advice, but but we're not men.
Yeah.
So it's like just that type of, transparency is important. So I love what y'all are doing. I can't wait to see. I want to eavesdrop. Might even sign my kids up, because since I got 3, look.
Come on.
They need look. I need help as a parent.
We're all learning. We're all
my kids be having questions. I'll be like, give me a minute.
Let me think about that.
It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge being a parent. So before we go, I want to talk about, because I don't want to keep you too long. I want to say I'm gonna keep you to my hour. Before we go, because I wanted to touch on identity, but we'll have to catch that another time. But movement, when it comes to choreography and dancing, like, how has that? Because again, I'm not a dancer around other people. So when it comes down to it, like, what has dance done for you? Because it seems like you're very outspoken, I can't even know the words, but you're just an outgoing person when it comes to dance.
Yeah.
How did you get there? Were you always like that, or is that something that just wound up happening?
No, I wasn't. And you know what? Since we don't have a lot of time for identity, I'm gonna go ahead and slide that in there, because it's really related. I didn't really know how to dance as a young girl. My older brother was the one who would teach me like a couple of moves, and we went to the school dance. And we would visit Nigeria often, because my parents are from Nigeria. And there was, like, after my 3rd trip or so to Nigeria, I was like, you know what? I don't know. It's like I just got suddenly so drawn and interested to, like, my culture and, like, my identity, who I am. Like, I've always kind of felt too American to be Nigerian, but also too Nigerian to be American. And I don't know what it was about this trip, but all of a sudden, Nigerian food, Nigerian music, dancing, which is how I got into Afro dance. It all just, in the language, Yoruba language, which is how I started learning our language. It all just drew me. And so I started with YouTube videos. I couldn't even, I didn't know how to wind my waist. Like, my waist felt so stiff. And so I just started every day, like, I would just, do a little kind of SpongeBob around the world, and then just learn more and more dances. And yeah, as introverted as a person as I am, when it comes to dance, I don't know, like, I just love it. I'm an outspoken person when it comes to dance, I guess.
The hubby said he taught you.
He taught me. He taught me nothing. Let's not lie here on the gram. He taught me absolutely nothing. But yeah, dance, I don't like, I just have to dance. I don't know. Like, it's just something in me now. I have to move. I'm always thinking of moves. And it's just a part of my life now.
That's awesome, because growing up, if you asked me to dance, I would cry. That's how bad it was. Like, I don't know why I had like a fear of dancing. Like, but now I can get on the floor and do a cha-cha slide, any of those line dances. I'm here for that. And all the other stuff. I've been telling the kids to teach me, well, my nieces, my nephews, because my kids don't know. All the dances the kids be doing nowadays on the TikTok and everything else, and I'll be like, why y'all stay so in sync? It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But I still gotta work on the whole winding thing. But yeah, I was like, it's just it just comes off so natural. That's why I was like, I wonder if it's something that she started off just being like growing up, just being a dancer, just getting into it, or if that's something you evolved into.
Yeah, something I evolved into, and something I learned, and it's funny. I remind myself every now and then, because it does feel so natural now. But there are gifts, and then there are talents, I guess, talents that you learn. So music is my first love, because that's something that I never tried to do, but I just could sing for as long as I remember. But dance is something that I learned, even though now it does feel like it comes naturally.
And when you gonna do another dance class?
So I would love to do an in-person dance class. I did it online. You can see it on my page, a live one. I would love to do an in-person dance class, because the vibes are just they're so present. I love feeding people. I love seeing if they're getting what I'm teaching, because I love teaching. I don't just want to dance and have fun. I want other people to like join me in that. I just don't know what the response will be right now with COVID and everything. If people would come out, I don't know if I should do an outdoor one, because with outdoor, the elements, you can't control them.
You can't control them.
But I would love to do an in-person. The next one, I would love for it to be in person. So I don't know. So y'all let me know if you would come to an in-person at this time, or if we should just keep it live for now.
I'm answering everybody. They said in person.
Okay.
Because I remember growing up and I would see my cousin, who's actually a doctor now also.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, she does some sort of anesthesiology or something.
Okay.
You gotta poke people with that.
Oh, acupuncture. Is it? Okay.
That might be a part of it.
Okay.
But she has her Instagram. She has her practice, and she does doing that for a while. But growing up, I would see her do so much stuff. I would see her get into acting. I would see her do African dance, and I was like, "You are just so she can sing everything." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, you are so talented! I just see in your future you just doing all of that." But she's a doctor now. She's not doing any of that stuff. But I just found it so amazing to see like her having so many different talents.
Yeah.
That she actually explored. And she tried to teach me how to do a dance one time. Her name is Shania. Well, no, her maiden name is Leah Valentine. I can't remember her last name. She married too, girl. But she like with everything that she's done, it's just amazing. Like I said, she tried to teach us to do a dance, me and my sister. When I said it wasn't right now, it wasn't right now. But I feel like as I got older, I got a little bit more rhythm.
There you go.
But I'm also a person that I'm not afraid to hop in and jump in on a class.
Yeah.
So if you are teaching something, even if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just hopping in. So I'm excited because I've always wanted to learn like Afro dance. I've seen her do it, but I've never actually done it. But I love culture. I love how I want to know more about it. So that's something when you do decide when you're gonna do it, I'm definitely gonna be there.
Okay, bet. I will let you know.
Yes, girl. And well, again, no telling with COVID. But even when you did it outside, it still would be something, amazing. Because
Yeah.
people still getting together.
Yeah, that's true. They sure are.
They still out in these streets.
They out here like, is this COVID exist? Yeah, that's true.
Yes, because on the weekend it's like Party City, and I'm like, y'all know it's COVID. Nobody got no mask on. Okay. But yes, let everybody know where they can find you, the different platforms, and if you have anything coming up.
Okay, cool. Yes, you can find me on Instagram right here. I'm sure you can click on my name. I'm at Victoria Sis Vic, at Victoria and then SisVic. Actually, in my bio on Instagram, you can just click there to see all my links. It'll take you to my Spotify. You can look me up on Spotify, Sis Vic. You can look up Midnight Coffee. You can look me up on YouTube. All the songs are free on Spotify and YouTube. Sis Vic, Midnight Coffee. You can find me on Tumblr. You can find me on Facebook, Sis Vic Music. Yeah. Or you can find me in person in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Get at me.
And you can catch her on a runway,
Uh-huh.
photo shoot. And I believe you did some work for QVC also.
Uh-huh.
So she out here.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And now she's doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Sis Vic. Or Dr. Sis Vic, Dr. Victoria, and Dr. Say your last name one more time because I ain't want to mess it up. That's
Adeniran. You can say Adeniran or Adeniran.
But yes, and I just want to say thank you so much. Because I got to come now, girl. So we got to hang out. Thank you so much for coming on to When Models Talk Season 2, Episode 2.
Oh, you know it.
Yes, and just thank you, and thank you everybody who tuned in, who's going to tune in, and don't forget to look out for KatriceBelly.com. It is on its way, coaching and management.
Woo-woo.
So I'm excited about that, but thank y'all so much, and everyone have a wonderful night.
Good night. Thanks, Katrice.
You're welcome. Thank you. Oh, let me try to figure out how to exit out now. Okay.